A1. Beginner, breakthrough user. Skill, what a learner can do. Spoken interaction and production. Can introduce themselves and others simply, and answer questions about personal details, e.g., where they live, what they have, people they know. Can interact in a very basic way, provided the other person speaks slowly and clearly and is prepared to help. Can use very common, simple phrases and expressions for immediate needs, e.g., greetings, simple thanks, basic directions. Listening. Can recognize familiar words and very basic phrases concerning themselves, their family, and immediate, concrete surroundings when people speak slowly and clearly. Reading. Can understand familiar names, words, and very simple sentences, for example, on notices, posters, or in catalogs. Writing. Can write simple phrases and sentences, such as filling in forms with personal details, name, address, nationality, or writing a very short, simple note. Certainly. Let's look at the A2 level, which is the next step after A1. A2 is classified as elementary or way stage level in the CEFR. At this stage, learners move beyond simple survival phrases and can handle more extended, common communication tasks. A2. Elementary or way stage user. Skill. What a learner can do. Spoken interaction and production. Can communicate in simple and routine tasks requiring a simple and direct exchange of information on familiar and routine matters. Can handle very short social exchanges. Example, asking for and giving directions, making a simple purchase. Can use a series of phrases and sentences to describe in simple terms their family, people, living conditions, educational background, and present job. Listening. Can understand phrases and the highest frequency vocabulary related to areas of most immediate personal relevance, e.g., very basic personal and family information, shopping, local geography, employment. Can catch the main point in short, clear, simple messages and announcements. Reading. Can read very short, simple texts. Can find specific, predictable information in simple everyday material, such as advertisements, prospectuses, menus, and timetables. Can understand short, simple personal letters or notes. Writing. Can write short, simple notes and messages relating to matters in areas of immediate need. Can write a very simple personal letter, for example, thanking someone or apologizing. That's a great choice. The B1 level is a significant milestone for English learners as it marks the transition to an independent user. It is officially called the threshold or intermediate level. At the B1 level, a learner has moved beyond relying on others to carry the conversation and can manage most daily situations on their own. B1, intermediate or threshold user, skill. What a learner can do. Spoken interaction and production. Travel. Can deal with most situations likely to arise whilst traveling in an area where the language is spoken, e.g., checking into a hotel, navigating public transport. Conversation. Can enter unprepared into conversation on topics that are familiar, of personal interest, or pertinent to everyday life, e.g., family, hobbies, work, current events. Descriptions. Can connect phrases in a simple way to describe experiences and events, dreams, hopes, and ambitions. Opinions. can briefly give reasons and explanations for opinions and plans. Listening can understand the main points of clear standard speech on familiar matters regularly encountered at work, school, or leisure. Can understand the main point of many radio or TV programs on current affairs or topics of personal or professional interest when the delivery is relatively slow and clear. Reading can understand texts that consist mainly of high-frequency, everyday, or job-related language. Can understand the description of events, feelings, and wishes in personal letters. Can comprehend the main idea behind an article, report, or news story on a familiar topic. Writing can write simple connected text on topics which are familiar or of personal interest. Can write personal letters describing experiences, impressions, and giving reasons for opinions. That's the next exciting step. The B2 level is also known as Upper Intermediate or Vantage and is a very important level often required for university admission or professional jobs in English-speaking environments. At the B2 level, the learner is still an independent user, but with a much higher degree of fluency and capability than at B1. Stellar B2, Upper Intermediate or Vantage user. Skill, what a learner can do. Spoken interaction and production. Fluency, can interact with a degree of fluency and spontaneity that makes regular interaction with native speakers quite possible without strain for either party. Discussion, can take an active part in discussions in familiar contexts, accounting for and sustaining their views, arguing their points. Complex topics, can produce clear, detailed text or speech on a wide range of subjects. Listening, can understand the main ideas of complex speech on both concrete and abstract topics, including technical discussions in their field of specialization. Can follow most radio and TV news and current affairs programs. Reading, can understand the main ideas of complex text on both concrete and abstract topics. Can read texts with a broad reading vocabulary and a large degree of autonomy. They don't need a dictionary for every word. Writing, can produce clear, detailed text on a wide range of subjects. Can write an essay or report explaining a viewpoint on a topical issue, giving the advantages and disadvantages of various options. You are asking for the description of the C1 level again, which is the first level of the proficient user group. This level is also known as advanced. Here is a recap of the key abilities of an English speaker at the C1 level. Diamond, C1 Advanced user. Skill, key capabilities. Fluency and interaction. They can express themselves fluently and spontaneously without much obvious searching for expressions. They can use the language effectively and flexibly for social, academic, and professional purposes. Spoken production. They can produce clear, well-structured, detailed descriptions and presentations on complex subjects, integrating sub-themes, developing particular points, and rounding off with an appropriate conclusion. Listening. They can understand long, demanding speech even when it is not clearly structured and when relationships are only implied and not signaled explicitly. They can follow television programs and films without too much effort. Reading. They can understand long, complex text, both factual and literary, and appreciate distinctions in style. They understand specialist articles and longer technical instructions even outside their field. Writing. They can produce clear, well-structured, detailed text on complex subjects. They can write an essay or report explaining a viewpoint on a topical issue, giving the organizational patterns, connectors, and cohesive devices. That is the final stop on the CEFR scale. The C2 level is the highest possible level of English proficiency, often called mastery or proficiency. At C2, a learner's abilities are comparable to an educated native speaker. They can handle virtually any situation, task, or concept with complete ease and precision. King, C2 Proficiency Mastery User. Skill, what a learner can do. Spoken interaction and production. Mastery, they can express themselves spontaneously, very fluently, and precisely, differentiating finer shades of meaning even in more complex